What's going on, true believers? Welcome to another episode of One Shot. I am your host, Jacob, and man, I thought last week was a massive week for books. This week was even bigger. My stack here, I got it right here. Man, massive amounts of books. I'm going to try to go over as many as I can. Maybe not in as great a detail as I would normally do, but maybe you like that because I won't be spoiling as much. But let's start it off with this Amazing Spider-Man number 74, or 875 if you will. The last issue of Nick Spencer's run. Besides this cover, that is the best thing about this book, is the fact that it is finally over. Overall, this book was not that bad, but it was readable. I'll just say that. But man, it was not great. It seemed like they were trying to cram too much into this one. Kindred wound up being two kindreds, which wound up being two clones, which wound up having Harry Osborn show up and he's a clone. And it's just, they were right at the end just trying to throw everything we know about, Spider-Man and his storylines and stuff. They're just trying to cram it in right at the end. Everything all the previous stories, previous villains and stuff. And it was a mess. It was a nightmare. I'm glad it's over. Hopefully the next person to pick this up is going to be so much better. Darkhawk, issue number 2. This series it's good, I think, anyway. The kid, I'm still not familiar with their names yet, that is now Darkhawk. He has multiple sclerosis. So he used to be a high school basketball player, full ride to college. But now that dream might be over, but now he's Darkhawk. And his best friend was working for a group of bad guys and trying to steal the suit. Not knowing that it was him inside the suit, he finds out in this issue. Miles Morales makes an appearance, which is why you see the Spider-Man logo on the front, but it was just like a kind of a in passing thing, so he was not major to the story yet, if ever. But his friend, the friend that was working for the bad people, winds up kind of trying to say, he finds out his identity and he's like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, and the bad guy shoots him at the end. So this series is picking up pretty well. I knew nothing about Darkhawk before this series, but this one, I'm on board. Inferno, issue number 1. I mainly picked it up because this cover is fantastic. I gave it a read, and I don't know what it is. X-Men does not do it for me. I cannot get into an X-Men series. It's boring. It's like watching episode 2 of Star Wars. It's just all talking and there's like no action going on. It's just a council talking about possibilities and what should we do and blah blah blah. It's boring. You're the X-Men. Go out and do something. I don't know. I can't find an X-Men book that I like. I keep trying. Obviously, here's one right here. Superman 78. This series, it surprised me how much I like this one. I like this one over the Batman 89. This one, that cover too is amazing. Christopher Reeve and I just had his name. Gene Hackman. I believe it was his name, yes. Um, but this is kind of picking up where the movies were at. Like, it's got that same art style, like that Art Deco-y kind of feel to it. Metropolis. Um, the super villains and stuff aren't super detailed and stuff like that. They look like they're wearing costumes type stuff. So, but this one, Brainiac has made it to Earth, and he's trying to take out Superman. And if he can't do that, he'll just wipe the Earth clean. Period. But Superman at the end winds up giving himself up to Brainiac. So this series has been really good. I'm happy with it. Redshift, issue number 3. Picking up where the last one left off. The 2 Voyagers are traveling through space now. Normally there's only 1. But on this ship there's 2 now. And they come across one of the previous mission ships, so they decide to explore, see what went wrong. And before they can do that, there was an emergency, and they had to leave that ship, but they did download some data from the other ship. And this series has been pretty cool. Just kind of seeing life after Earth, but also life after Mars. We need to go somewhere better. Seeing what kind of would happen with that. Really good series so far. Redshift. Carnage, Extreme Carnage Omega. This is the last one in the series, and it felt kind of like a bust to me. It was okay. But it feels more like they're trying to set something else up. So they used a mini series to set up maybe another series. I don't know. Did not really dig the ending too much. It was okay. Some of the symbiotes have now been captured, but they already are alluding to, they don't stay captured for long. So obviously something's got to happen. We don't know what. But it was okay. Most of the series is kind of meh. I'm pretty burnt out on symbiotes, to be honest. Thor 17. Where we last left off, Thor was summoned by who he thought was his dad, but wound up being his mom and his sister. So it's basically a family gathering, a family feud. This whole issue is just them arguing and down talking each other, and it wasn't very good. I don't think this one was very good, which is disappointing because this series has been pretty good so far. But they're setting something up, obviously. His sister's basically like, everything that happens in Asgard will affect everywhere else. So either start leading or get out of the way. I'm going to take over. And Thor's just kind of like, I don't know what to do. And Thor's hammer gets stolen. That was where this one ended. So we don't know who has the hammer. And I'm sure that's where it's going to pick up and get better, hopefully. But that issue was kind of a bust. Star Wars 17. Darth Vader is chasing Luke, and Luke kind of outflies him in this issue, which was kind of fun. This issue was not bad. Again, with the Star Wars series, like Bounty Hunters and things, it's kind of hit or miss if you're going to get a good issue. This was a good issue. Darth Vader chasing Luke. Luke outflies him and gets him to crash, but Vader somehow, using the Force, manages to get his TIE fighter back in the air. And that's kind of where this one ends. They're still trying to recover Han Solo's carbonite body. Unborn, issue number 1. This one was sold to me as Power Rangers meets Aliens type things. And it's kind of there. I see it. I definitely see the Aliens, like the Xenomorph influence on this series, and the Power Rangers-esque thing. It's very light in there, but it is there. I see it. But this one, it's not a bad series. It's definitely, I don't know. I'll have to give it a few more issues to see where it goes and if it picks up any. But it wasn't a bad setup for what it was. Each individual guy, as you can see, gets kind of like their own special weapon. They're space miners trying to get power cells for a company. Yeah, see the aliens references in there. But it's not bad. I'll give it a few more issues. Batman, Reptilian number 4. So we're finally getting to the end of this one. The next issue is the last one. Batman finds Killer Croc in the sewers. And Killer Croc is like sick. He's not feeling well. He's like, I eat, but I don't put on any weight. Batman sees something attached to him and is like, hey, that sack that's attached to you, it's poisoning your blood. Can I remove it? And he's like, yeah, whatever. So he removes it, and he informs Killer Croc that, hey, you gave birth. This thing that's been killing everybody in this series is Killer Croc's baby. There was this whole long spiel about, I don't know, was it like a possibility of something alien, and that's what Killer Croc is. But he's kind of like hermaphroditic. Is that the word? He kind of can go between sexes to where he reproduced asexually, I guess. And so Killer Croc's kind of freaking out about it, but we finally, in the end, see what this monster is killing everybody, or attempting to, and why they're doing it. And it is big. It's massive. And I believe the next issue is going to be them fighting it. Pretty good series. The art's really good. If most of the time, I'll say the art is really good. Sometimes it's a little dark and blurry to where you can't tell what's really going on in it, but overall it's been really good. Robin, issue number 6. We're finally getting to that Mortal Kombat fight, and everybody's going at it. Robin's like having an easy time with it seems, but now he's more or less trying to figure out. Everybody's trying to figure out what's the meaning of this whole event. There's something underlying with it. So Robin kind of takes a fall a little bit just to get his get the attention off of him, so he can take this book that this lady's been reading out of to try to figure out what's been going on. This series has been fantastic. Seeing Robin, Damian Wayne in his own series is always fun. But this one has been really good. Batman versus Big B, a wolf in Gotham. I didn't know if I was going to pick this one up or not, but you know what? I'm not unhappy that I did. Big B, if for those of you who don't know, is from the Fable series. I believe some of you may know him from the Telltale game, A Wolf Among Us or something like that. I think what it is. I can't remember what it's called. I believe that's what it is. But there's a wolf in Gotham that's been killing people, and Batman finally encounters Bigby, and they're kind of going at it, but nothing is really explained in this issue. It's just kind of... Sorry about that. My phone ran out of memory. But yeah, like I was saying, nothing really happens in this book, except the meeting between Batman and Bigby in the first initial fight, and that's kind of where it ends. But I'll be checking out the next one, see where this one heads. Crossover issue number 8. So, picking up where the last one left off, I don't know how many months ago. I was kind of forgetting the story. But the main character is from the comic book world. And she's talking to the other guy who's kind of an idiot. And they wound up being captured by some police, but they look like they're from the comic book world. And we don't know what happens to her, but he's being offered another deal. Like he's been offered 2 or 3 of these at this point, to where he doesn't want to do anything for anybody anymore because they keep getting him into more and more trouble with people. There was a section where somebody in the story was doing like their own drawings of comic books and stuff, and it was kind of how maybe it was supposed to go down but didn't. I don't know, this series is okay. Donny Cates' style start out great and then kind of peter off into nothing, and that's where this one's headed too. I'll continue to see if it picks up anymore, but overall, just a meh series. Department of Truth, issue 13. Unlike the cover suggests, this does not talk about the moon landing conspiracy, but that cover is amazing. I love it. I was hoping for a moon landing conspiracy, but didn't get it. But still wasn't disappointed. We're following Cole kind of through his past. They take him, he's captured by the Black Hat Society guys, who are the bad guys, and taken kind of back to where it all began for him. He imagined that he was like captured by this star-faced man and made to do like eat babies and things like that, but it was all in his imagination, I guess. But now the star-faced man kind of exists, and it's been alongside the main bad guy from the Black Hats, and knows a lot. So he's the guy that's kind of a double agent for both people, is allowing him to take this creature back to the Department of Truth and try to get information out of it. So he's having to travel with his worst nightmare, essentially. Overall, this series has been great. It's definitely a read. Like, there is a lot of dialogue in every one of these issues. It's almost a novel in itself, but it's been really good. Out of Body, issue 4. So we're getting closer to finding out who tried to kill the main guy in this. But I don't know what you would call him, the sorcerer, the guy who deals in occult stuff, might have actually captured his soul, which is what he's been trying to do to feed his master. This series has been pretty good. I'm still interested in it, but it's like I can't really describe everything that happens because nothing really happens, but it's good. I don't know how that works out, but it does. Out of Body. Berserker, issue 5. This is the foil variant, so it's super shiny. So now we're trying to delve into more of the main character's backstory. Why he, the different loves he's had in his past and kind of why he doesn't love anymore. Um, Obviously, because one of the reasons is they age and he doesn't. So he just kind of would fulfill his needs where he could get it in and then kind of move on. Um, learn the I don't know how to describe this one again, but he's involved in a program, and I don't think he knows exactly what he's into. He just wants to be able to die, so he's not scared of anything. But I think the people that are running this experiment have a different goal for him. So this series has been really good, especially if you like ultra violence. Deathstroke Inc. #1. I don't know what they're doing with this one. They're trying to make Deathstroke a hero now, maybe. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I know it's happened and been successful in other stories, but I don't know if I want Deathstroke to be a good guy. He was kind of a bad guy, but more of an anti-hero, and now they're trying to make him be kind of good. I don't know. Story was meh. The artwork is okay. This cover is amazing. But I don't know how much I want to read this. I don't know if I'll be picking up the next issue. I'll have to see. It may be a cover buy if I do. Probably my pick of the week. This was amazing. Spawn 322. It was great. He rescues a girl from a vampire in previous issues, and now he's kind of interrogating this vampire, trying to get what he wants out of him. And then he's like, you know what? I'm not going to kill you. That might just be too good for you. You want to survive? You need some blood. You haven't drank or eaten anything in a couple days. There goes a rat. Why don't you chase it down that hallway? Well, that hallway is loaded with spikes. And the number of spikes is important because it's like the number of days or something that he had that woman captured. And he's running down the hallway and he's getting spiked and he's bleeding everywhere. And apparently one of this dude's weaknesses is these roaches because they drain energy out of him. And now he's being chased by roaches down the hallway. So he has to kind of force himself to get hurt a lot more in Saw-like fashion. And then he reaches the end and his two dogs are down there. And Spawn kind of has control over them. And he's like, hey, these dogs haven't eaten in a couple days either. I told them I was going to let them eat. So he releases the hounds at him, gives the guy the key to the exit, which is back down the hallway. And he has to take off down the hallway with the roaches coming at him from one way and the dogs coming at him from the other and spikes everywhere. It was just torturing the bad guy. It makes you feel like the bad guy, but at the same time it's like good for him for having to put him through some of the torture that he puts other people through. This series is, I'm glad I hopped on it. This book was definitely the best one that I've read out of all of them so far, and I loved it. 322. All right, and another back issues that I picked up. Amazing Spider-Man 305, California Scheming. Scheming. Whether that is a Mamas and the Papas reference or a Tupac reference, I'll let you be the judge. But I'm leaning towards Tupac. Classic cover, classic storyline, I guess. Picked it up for a couple bucks. McFarlane cover. Gotta love it. And then from the dollar bin, I picked up Venom Madness Part 1 of 3. This is this cover's got some texture to it, which is really cool. Venom, The Enemy Within Part 2 of 3. And Part 3 of 3 in that series. And Venom the Mace Conclusion. It was issue number 3. And this cover is pretty cool. Venom the Hunger, issue number 2. The White Room. That is all I have for you today. If you like this video, leave me a like, leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought. Tell me what you're reading. Tell me what I should be reading. I mean, this week has been massive, and it took me a while to get through all these books. That's why this video is kind of coming out later in the week as opposed to like Wednesday or Thursday where I normally post them. But yeah, thank you for stopping by. Join us again next time on the next issue of One Shot. And as always, have a great day.